For fugitive drug lord El Chapo, okay? Pay close attention to this video. Mexican authorities have just released this closed-circuit video.
Pretty much know what's above ground at Alcatraz Island.
Pretty much know what's above ground at Alcatraz Island. But now, a new study finds there are hidden buildings and tunnels underneath the prison yard. Alcatraz has long been known as a notorious prison. But recent discoveries, hidden tunnels, sealed chambers, and mysterious documents reveal a secret history of covert operations and espionage hidden right under everyone's noses. These revelations suggest the island was involved in far more than just housing criminals, possibly serving as a hub for classified missions and unsolved plots. Now, its darkest secrets are coming to light. Could Alcatraz's true story finally be uncovered? What exactly was happening beneath the surface? Join us as we look into FBI discoveries under the Alcatraz prison. A strange discovery beneath Alcatraz. The ferry ride to Alcatraz had been like any other. Tourists laughing, cameras clicking, the skyline of San Francisco fading into the fog. But the island ahead told a different story. Its grey walls and rusted fences still carried the weight of the past. The kind you could almost feel under your skin. Inside, visitors roamed freely through cell blocks, peering at relics of a prison that once held America's most dangerous men. But far from the guided tours, in a section sealed off from the public, a small crew of workers was busy with a quiet renovation. Then came the strange part. Behind a stack of old maintenance supplies, they spotted a section of brick that looked wrong. The pattern didn't match the rest of the wall, and some bricks seemed barely held in place, like they were hiding something no one was meant to see. What was hidden behind this wall? And why was it never recorded in the prison's history? Stay tuned. What you're about to hear will blow your mind. When they pried the bricks free, the workers revealed a shaft leading downward into blackness. Airless, lightless, untouched for decades. At first, it seemed like a forgotten maintenance route or abandoned saw line. Something left behind in the prison's earliest days. But within hours of the report, the FBI had secured the area, pushing aside the construction crew. They sent cameras down first, the kind used in confined rescue spaces. What they saw was nothing like a simple utility tunnel. The walls weren't rough stone or loose dirt. They were reinforced with steel brackets, precisely fitted, and free from the haphazard patching you'd expect in an improvised structure. This was deliberate work carried out with forethought and skill. The passage twisted in unnatural ways, narrowing in some sections, opening slightly in others, then cutting sharp turns that seemed designed to confuse anyone without a map. It connected to nothing else in Alcatraz's known infrastructure. As the team descended, their boots echoed softly against the floor, too softly for bare concrete. A closer look showed the surface had been layered with compacted material, perhaps to muffle sound. There were no electrical fixtures, no traces of ventilation fans, nothing to suggest regular movement or use. It was the kind of environment where a candle's flame would suffocate in minutes. Whoever built this didn't intend for it to be comfortable. They intended for it to remain hidden. The FBI brought in architectural historians who pored over the construction methods. Their analysis revealed something unexpected. Certain steel components bore serial numbers that traced back to the early NE-20s, years before Alcatraz officially became a federal prison in 1934. That meant this tunnel had existed in some form before the island's most famous chapter even began. The mystery wasn't just about what the tunnel led to. It was about who had the means and reason to build it in the first place. That revelation sent ripples through the investigation. Prison escape law is full of whispered schemes, from crude hacksaws smuggled in bread loaves to daring swims through icy waters. The 1962 breakout of Frank Morris and the Anglan brothers remains the most famous. Yet no record, official or rumored, ever hinted at a subterranean passage of this scale. It wasn't in guard logs, warden reports, or inmate drawings. That left only two possibilities. Either no one ever knew it existed, or someone made certain it stayed a secret. Both scenarios were unsettling. If no one knew, it meant the tunnel had been successfully concealed through every renovation and inspection for nearly a century. If someone did know, it meant there was a deliberate effort, possibly at the highest levels, to keep it off the books. And that begged the question, was this tunnel meant to keep people in, get them out, or serve a purpose no one had yet guessed? Investigators began piecing together what they could from surviving records. Some vague documents from the 1920s referenced private works on the island, possibly tied to military or industrial projects, but the specifics were frustratingly absent. A few hinted at the installation of underground structures for temporary operations, though whether those operations were military, commercial, or something else entirely remained unclear. Alcatraz's location made it ideal for both secrecy and control. An isolated rock in the bay, close enough to the city to observe it, far enough to deter intrusion. If the tunnel had been intended for intelligence work, smuggling, or covert storage, it was in the perfect place. But speculation could only go so far without knowing what was behind the heavy iron barrier at the tunnel's end. Standing before that door, the agents couldn't ignore the craftsmanship. Industrial-grade hinges were buried deep in the surrounding stone, installed with a precision suggesting professional engineering rather than ad hoc labor. The metal was weathered but still strong, resisting decades of corrosion. Around the frame, the stonework was fitted so tightly it seemed to merge with the island itself. This wasn't a hatch someone could have battered open in an escape attempt. It was meant to hold and hold absolutely. On the other side was either nothing or something that someone had gone to extraordinary lengths to hide. Whatever the truth, the team knew they were at the threshold of something far bigger than an architectural oddity. The moment they breached it, the story of Alcatraz might never read the same again. What did they discover inside? Let's dig deeper. What the FBI discovered beneath Alcatraz. The FBI's entry team advanced on the sealed iron door with heavy cutting tools, battling through layers of corrosion that had kept it locked for decades. Welders sliced into the hinges, sparks ricocheting off the tunnel walls. The grinding echoed in the confined space until the final cut released the door with a deep metallic groan. Inside lay a chamber sealed away from the world. Dust drifted through the still air as flashlights revealed orderly rows of boxes against the walls. Faded ink labels clung to them, their paper edges crumbling. Within, agents found yellowing documents so brittle they flaked apart when touched. In one corner, a primitive but intact radio system sat beside hand-drawn maps of San Francisco Bay currents. 3 neatly aligned military-style CS stood against the far wall, while 2 dust-coated clocks nearby showed the same inexplicable time, 2:17 a.m., as if marking a moment meant to be remembered. Forensic teams moved quickly, photographing every object before disturbing the room's arrangement. The document spanned multiple decades with some dating to 1919, well before Alcatraz became a federal penitentiary in 1934. Others bore 1930s and early 1940s dates, their content ranging from shipping manifests to coded navigation logs. The most alarming discovery was a set of CIA-grade encryption devices from the early 1960s. These were not smuggled inmate contraband. They were professional intelligence tools used for high-security communications. Nearby, sealed tins of military rations and precisely wrapped mechanical components suggested the chamber was designed for sustained occupation. Its careful organization indicated no rush to abandon the site. Rather, it had been secured intentionally, as if awaiting a future operation or to ensure no unauthorized access. The combination of historical documents and advanced equipment posed a question that reached far beyond prison history or criminal activity. As cataloging progressed, historical links began to surface. In 1978, partially declassified Department of Justice files revealed a covert program named Project Warden's Shadow. Officially, it aimed to study and control high-risk prisoners using psychological pressure. Unofficially, some records hinted it extended into field intelligence operations, possibly using prison facilities as operational hubs. Alcatraz's remote yet strategically positioned location, overlooking naval and commercial traffic, matched the criteria in those documents. The tunnel's concealed shoreline exit, positioned to bypass all guard posts, fit descriptions of emergency extraction routes in Cold War contingency plans. If the chamber was tied to Warden's Shadow, its existence would have been deliberately hidden from most staff and inmates, serving purposes beyond imprisonment and aligning with strategic operations requiring complete secrecy. Accounts from retired guards added weight to the theory. Several recalled unusual restrictions in certain areas, particularly beneath Laundry Block C. One guard recounted hearing metallic clanging beneath the floor during a night shift. Unlike standard prison noises, at the time, supervisors dismissed such concerns or instructed guards not to investigate. The discovery of the tunnel decades later cast those memories in a different light. The structure's reinforced walls, operational ventilation shafts, and expertly hidden shoreline emergence suggested federal-level engineering. The exit's position beneath the waterline ensured invisibility from patrols or guard towers, even under searchlights. This design allowed individuals to leave the island undetected, moving straight into prearranged watercraft or concealed coastal positions without crossing the bay in open waters, a method far safer than any improvised escape attempt from the prison during its operational years. The chamber's condition implied it was intended for sustained use. The military surplus CS dated to the 1940s, each with bedding preserved in sealed oilcloth. The maps displayed tidal patterns spanning over a decade with hand-marked annotations indicating optimal movement times. The stopped clocks, both frozen at 2:17 a.m., baffled investigators. Forensic inspection ruled out coincidental mechanical failure. In intelligence practice, specific times can serve as operational signals or extraction markers. Whether that applied here remained unconfirmed, but the deliberate synchronization was clear. No prison records or known incidents matched that timestamp, adding to its mystery. Every object's placement suggested precision, not improvisation. This was a controlled space designed and maintained by individuals with resources, authority, and knowledge of how to conceal their work from every inspection and routine maintenance operation during the prison's history. Document analysis revealed further anomalies. Several files mentioned aliases later tied to suspected espionage operatives active during the 1950s and 1960s. Others listed offshore coordinates corresponding to known intelligence drop points in the Pacific. None of the files directly referenced prison operations, but their convergence within a hidden Alcatraz chamber alongside intelligence-grade tools was striking. Investigators began to view the tunnel as more than a means of escape. It could have been a secure entry route for classified exchanges, allowing materials, messages, or operatives to move in and out without detection. The fact that such a facility remained undetected for decades reinforced the possibility that only a select few knew of its existence, and those individuals operated with deliberate secrecy and institutional protection during the prison's most active years. Engineering assessments confirmed the tunnel's durability and advanced design. Reinforced stonework had resisted decades of decay, and its dimensions matched military specs for personnel extraction. Ventilation shafts suggested it could be reactivated quickly. This was no desperate escape route, but a strategic facility built for readiness. Given Alcatraz's isolation and the military-grade construction, it likely served as a Cold War contingency site. Whether linked to Project Warden's Shadow or another classified program, the tunnel allowed the prison above and covert operations below to function without overlap, blurring the line between incarceration and intelligence in ways the public never imagined before the FBI's discovery. The FBI's findings prompted two questions. Could this tunnel have been secretly known to select individuals during the prison's operational years? And if so, might it have played a direct role in one of America's most famous and unresolved escapes? What you're about to hear will blow your mind. The Hidden Tunnel and the 1962 Alcatraz Escape. The infamous 1962 breakout led by Frank Morris and the Angland brothers has long captured public imagination as the ultimate prison escape. Conventional accounts tell of these men chipping through ventilation ducts, scaling fences, and launching makeshift rafts to brave the perilous waters of San Francisco Bay. But the recent discovery of a concealed tunnel beneath Alcatraz adds an astonishing new dimension. This passage, hidden for nearly a century, raises the possibility that the escape plan involved more than just the known ducts and watercraft. Instead, Morris and the Anglins may have accessed a secret underground route built with Cold War precision to evade the island's formidable security and avoid the deadly bay currents altogether. This theory challenges decades of official narrative, suggesting a far more sophisticated and well-supported escape effort. Accounts from retired prison guards add eerie weight to this possibility. Several recalled warnings never to investigate certain areas, particularly beneath Laundry Block C, where unexplained metallic noises were reported. These first-hand recollections align suspiciously with the tunnel's location and construction. The reinforced steel walls and sound-muffling materials indicate this was no hastily built passage, but a purposefully engineered corridor. Its exit below the rocky waterline, invisible to guard towers and patrol boats, fits with a clandestine plan, allowing escapees to slip away unnoticed, bypassing the well-guarded island perimeter. Such a route would have transformed the escape from a desperate gamble into a carefully orchestrated operation, possibly with inside knowledge or assistance. Alan West, the so-called fourth man of the escape, remains an enigma. Unlike Morris and the Anglins, West was left behind and eventually caught. Some speculate he was excluded from the tunnel's secret plan due to concerns over his erratic behavior and reliability. His absence from the underground route, if it indeed existed, may have been deliberate, with West kept in the dark or even misled. This would explain why West faced the consequences alone, while the others vanished without a trace. The tunnel, then, might have been a selective escape option known only to the trusted core of the plan's masterminds. The tunnel's farthest reaches yielded a grim discovery: skeletal remains clutching a satchel containing pristine 1961 minted coins, faded maps, and water-damaged notes. Forensic analysis showed the bones did not match any known escapee, including the famous trio. This suggested the presence of a previously unknown accomplice or a failed escapee abandoned in the tunnel's depths. Scrawled messages on the walls, "They left me here," evoke a haunting sense of betrayal and desperation. The coin's condition and contents imply they were intended as resources for life after escape, potentially tied to covert funding. This macabre find deepens the mystery, hinting that the tunnel's use and those involved extended beyond the publicly known breakout. Contextualizing the coins with Cold War tensions of the early 1960s offers chilling implications. The timing coincides with heightened espionage and covert operations between the US and Soviet Union. Some experts propose the coins and supplies could have been linked to clandestine funding for intelligence operatives or escapees involved in government-related missions. The FBI's 2025 report notes the tunnel had multiple uses over several years, some of which are not fully understood. This lends weight to the idea that the 1962 escape may have intersected with secret Cold War agendas, where the prison served as a testing ground not just for containment, but for psychological endurance and covert logistics. Further intrigue arises from persistent rumors that a corrupt guard at Alcatraz may have played a crucial role in facilitating the infamous 1962 escape. According to whispers among former inmates and investigators, this guard provided the escapees with key intelligence about the hidden tunnel's existence and layout. In return, he supposedly expected a cut of any stolen money or spoils from the breakout. Frank Morris, the mastermind of the escape, was rumored to have absconded with a considerable sum of cash, which mysteriously vanished without a trace after the event. While no direct or official evidence has ever surfaced to confirm the guard's complicity, unexplained metallic noises heard on the night of the escape, along with the highly sophisticated design of the tunnel, add weight to the theory that insider help was involved. In a prison known for its strict control and harsh discipline, the possibility of internal collusion introduces a darker, more conspiratorial dimension to the story that continues to captivate the public imagination. The 2013 letter from John Anglin, which famously stated, "We made it that night, but barely," takes on an entirely new meaning in light of the tunnel's discovery beneath Alcatraz. For decades, this phrase was interpreted as a reference solely to surviving the treacherous waters of San Francisco Bay, the cold, dangerous currents that many believed would have claimed the men's lives. However, with the revelation of a secret subterranean passage, it's possible the letter was describing a close and harrowing escape through the tunnel's narrow, hazardous route instead. This suggests the escape was far more than just a daring raft journey. It was a carefully orchestrated evasion of guards and surveillance using infrastructure unknown to the public and many inside the prison. The men's survival and disappearance may therefore reflect not only their cunning and bravery, but also privileged access to secret facilities and possibly the knowledge of only a select few insiders, rewriting the very nature of their escape. Nearly 6 decades after the 1962 escape, the case remains officially unresolved, with investigations still open and public appeals continuing to seek new information. The discovery of the tunnel, along with reports of skeletal remains and cryptic messages like the Anglin letter, challenges the long-accepted narrative of 3 desperate prisoners attempting a last-ditch breakout. Instead, these new findings suggest a far more complex story involving secret government projects, espionage activities, and shadowy insiders operating within the prison system. Alcatraz, once viewed simply as a maximum security penitentiary, now appears to have concealed a labyrinth of covert operations and hidden escape routes beneath its cold stone walls. Adding to the mystery is the possible involvement of a missing fourth man whose fate has never been confirmed. The legend of the 1962 escape endures, but it is now forever entwined with deeper mysteries hidden beneath the island's surface, keeping the public fascinated and questioning what really happened. What do you think was really going on beneath Alcatraz all these years, hidden from the world? How do these shocking discoveries change everything we thought we knew about this infamous prison? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to check out the next video on your screen. You will enjoy.